there's drum stuff I need to fix, but in terms of like a first work in progress, I haven't sent this to developer at all, so. I've never been very keen on using a whole lot of variation in the drums, I guess. Do a little bit though. Sometimes you don't need a whole lot. Because I kind of want to offset. I have really complex drums and I have really simple drums. I would like to have that variation to kind of keep it interesting. But I do want cymbal hits. Crazy drums! Oh yeah. Part of me is also just kind of like, if your drums are too interesting, then the rest of the track gets lost a little bit. Like, uh, I really want to have people's attention focused in certain places musically when they're listening to it, and so a lot of that is usually just melody. But there's so many chord things happening that if you get people like focused on the drums having a little bit of variation and distraction, it can be a little too complicated sounding. That's just my opinion. I don't want to make people get tired of listening to it. That's a big deal with me. It's like I listen to a lot of my music that I write over and over and over, just like for hours, just to try to figure out if there's anything about it that will make me tired of listening to it. And what ends up happening is if I find something eventually, sometimes it can take a couple days. Uh, it's like it's really important to me to have that, and maybe it's just my own personal preference, just not have super interesting drums because uh, there are other tracks in this soundtrack that have very very interesting drums, and this is not like a battle at all. This is like you're just kind of I want people to feel sort of a drive, like a pushing forward. And if you have too much interest in your drums, it can kind of take away from that, I feel like a little bit. Like it's all about like pushing forward at this section of the game. So but it's also one of the later levels in the game, so I wanted to have like more interest than the original like early stuff. So yeah. I mean, there's certainly little things I can do. Like if I get like pings, I'll just listen to the track and I'll be like, that should be different. Change it. Do that. The other thing is like, while I'm writing this, it's like this is literally the first pass for me. So it's I'm very, getting the final draft under my belt, but there's still a lot of things that I'm going to tweak even before I finish the entire soundtrack. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll write a bunch of tracks and then I'll go back to them eventually and just do a once over with everything to make sure it all kind of has a consistent quality, and then so I can get stuff up to like 90% done. That's kind of where I feel like I am right now with this. And after that, I'll be doing a bunch of work once the entire soundtrack is done and putting it together so it's cohesive and stuff. I feel like I'm done with this for now though. Like I feel like I can listen through the whole thing and not get tired of little things. Double the first two bars in the intro. The only reason why I'm not doing that is because I have to actually build down to it at the end. And so like what ends up happening is like these final two bars end up being more like the intro. And so if I add 4 bars of the intro, or 2 bars extra at the intro, it kind of lengthens the effect of just having this kind of dip and then it comes back. I just want it to kind of, because it has to have a ramp up at the beginning. I don't want it to be too long. I want the actual start of the ramp up to be at the end of the track a little bit. So we're building down. That's I've done that on previous tracks and it works well. I think if I add another 2 bars, it just would uh, take too long to build up for me. I really care about timing. Let's see.